Brother, are you all right?
No, I am not all right. I just shared a bottle of Kanar with Damar. That rhymes.
You're drunk.
Of course I'm drunk.
Yeah, see, no, I'm not drunk. Yes, I am a bit wired. I don't know what someone put into the coffee, so yeah, we'll have to bear with me on that one. And yeah, I did have some fun. I did do some stuff and things, but there was a question that just came up that honestly, it had to wait for the beginning of this, which, hey, hi everyone out there. Good to see you. We're just going to keep talking. Feel free to join in if you like. But so really, which version of the original trilogy of Star Wars is your favorite presentation? Because there's been, what, 24 of them now?
Thereabouts.
Give or take a dozen and a half, yeah.
Because my introduction to Star Wars was with the original VHS version, and then the THX remastered came out.
Yeah, I watched it first time on Betamax.
You nerd.
You're just jealous, that's all.
No, you know what? I have never seen anything on an actual Betamax before.
You're not missing much.
Well, you do know what actually ultimately led to the determination of VHS over Betamax, right?
The ability to record videos on your own player.
There was actually something else that factored into it more that a lot of people don't think.
No, I understand the other part of it. I was trying to keep this family friendly.
Oh, come on. Family friendly here? Really?
Well, it's creating a family, in a sense.
It can help inspire the creation of a family.
That it could.
Either that or it leads to long, lonely nights, depending on your situation.
Now, we're not talking about tasty here. That's for in a couple hours. But yeah, I mean, seeing the THX remaster, to me, I really think that is the pinnacle of the original trilogy of Star Wars, because it was actually just the right size. There wasn't an overabundance of the visual effects, especially with, we all know how much Lucas loved going in and tinkering with shit. No, fuck you, George.
Come on now. What's the detriment to every single creative creator out there when they're a perfectionist on everything?
Oh, you can over-edit the fuck out of a project. Like, sometimes you just have to know well enough to, okay, I'm putting that down, I'm stepping away, I'm not gonna touch it anymore. Well, I might touch it a little bit later. Well, it's different topic, different time, never mind. And yes, Han Solo shot first. That's actually what came up that sparked this right before going on air, and I was like, no, hold up, hold that thought.
I'm glad to have helped.
Well, here's something. Just think about this. There are people today who are of legal voting age who don't know what Yub is.
That's right, because the later versions did take that out of Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm. And put in that other, well, that other fucking abortion of an ending. And trying to throw in fucking Naboo there also.
Well, so I didn't so much have a problem with them showing the celebration of other worlds upon hearing the news. Here's the problem, though. The destruction of the Death Star 2 didn't actually end the fighting in the rebellion against the Empire. still went on for a good bit afterwards. You still had the Imperial remnants, which is actually what you're dealing with when you look at the show The Mandalorian. So, yeah, like I get that George wanted to tie in the celebration during the end of Return of the Jedi with the prequel trilogy that he had just gotten done with. So it's like, okay, I can't give him too much flack for it. Except it was kind of unrealistic how quickly those other worlds would be celebrating. Now, if those were blasts from an uprising and fighting of people trying to kick out the Imperials off their planet, that would make more sense. But it's not fitting with the celebratory mood that they were trying to go with at the moment.
But it's not just that either. Because if you take something like Naboo looks like it did in the prequels when it was still shiny and pristine. After they supposedly had, well, let's just say, a bit of a tiffle there. They had a fucking war going on.
Well, to be fair, even in Episode 1, most of that fighting took place away from the city, from what they showed.
Yeah. And the actual continuation of Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi, is in the Star Wars Legends Material Aftermath book series, by the way.
Wait, you mean the series that was accepted as additional canon, but then not, but then kind of retroactively cherry-picked from?
Yes, of course. What else is new with Disney?
That fucking mouse.
I think it's the other mouse that's got her hands and everything. He's just following along because, reasons.
With that being said, though, considering the ways that this is actually being done, wouldn't Donald Duck be the more appropriate mascot? Considering, ducks.
Why is he still going? It's already dead. Ducks are assholes. But so are their cousins, the geese.
I think the geese are a little bit more of assholes than the ducks, but it depends on if they come from Canada or not.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, how many other animals have a literal saw blade at the edge of their tongue?
Not many that I can think of.
No. That's why you got to watch out for them crazy fucking Canadian geese. Maybe that's what it is the Canadians have repressed the majority of their anger and aggression to the point where, as a society, they went into a shaman-like trance and funneled all that energy into one creature, and it was the original Canadian goose.
You mean the goose emperor of mankind?
Sure, that works.
That would explain Thibaut quite well.
I do love the thinking of legend for everything that may not be canon. This way you can still use it, but it doesn't have to be accurate. Oh, yeah. Yeah, when we go into the Legends material in the expanded universe for Star Wars, I don't see a problem with that thinking. But at the same time, there is a way to, in-universe, give yourself that out, and actually some of the animated series started going towards that with oh god, what did they call that group? Was it the Will of the Force? It is essentially who is actually supposed to be the narrators of the entire Star Wars saga. Yeah, the Wills. Yeah, because when you look at the entry a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, it really fits that those sorts of people, the Wills, looking back, using the Force as their avenue to look back at a long distant past and retelling the events as they could see it from there, would lend credence to there being some narrative liberties taken and things not always seeming like they add up because, well, you're looking through an imprecise methodology of what happened. Things can get distorted, like they've shown in some of the Force visions. It doesn't always play out or is shown exactly how it takes place. Sometimes it does, but other times it's a possibility of what is or currently happening.
Yeah, and that's why you have the main stuff, the main conflicts, all the main things are the things that are usually brought up. As in, why would you care when they went to the bathroom 5 years before anything actually started?
And then you have the whole... Well, let's compare it to a roadway. Your major events like that are your major exits off the highway. Are you really going to care about the subtle bends and twists that the highway takes between exits? Some people might. But for the grander storytelling aspect, as long as the exits are where they're supposed to be, the way the road is laid out in between those exits is really immaterial.
Yeah, this is where I have stuff like, say, Luke in the expanded universe. Luke turns into a Jedi Master and dabbles with the Sith and does a whole lot of other crazy bullshit. If you look at the expanded universe. But even from book to book, Luke isn't exactly the same. It's different people telling the story the way that they saw it, or the way that they perceived it. The same way if you look at something like the side books, where you have the characters who have who've interacted with Luke, or we hear about Luke indirectly. It's not a story about Luke, and in those, the story can be more liberal with the turns that it wants to take.
Yeah. And let's just hope the rumors that we've heard recently are true. With Kathleen Kennedy being on the way out and there being a reboot and a correction of a lot of the wonderful decisions that had been made over the past 10 years, call it.
Yeah, about-ish.
Oh, the one that I find the most intriguing, and can I just say, called it, where they haven't expressly said that Gina Carano is back, but they're saying, oh, she can come back if she if she wants to.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Davros, I don't want to know how you came about that information. I know you got security cameras because of those damn squirrels all over the place, but just, there's a reason why the curtains in my bedroom are very rarely opened.
They don't have to be open if you can hear him.
Again, I don't want to know how you guys know some of that. Now, I'm not kink shaming. I'm just saying that there's a little bit of decorum and appreciation that needs to happen.
Nah.
Not a chance.
You see, think about it like this. It's like being a nature photographer. The animals shouldn't know that you're there, and you can still appreciate the scenery.
Nice.
That being said, though, with all of this, if Kennedy gets just booted out, if we get a resurgence of, do we call it proper Star Wars? Star Wars that's more based on the stories within the universe and not so much our fucking politics in reality. How long will it be until someone new comes around and tries to take it over and make it about, oh yeah, but we need this representation, we need these characters, and they try to just shoehorn that into the existing shows?
How long until? That is a tough one because I guess the real core issue there is how do you think the well, okay, there are different levels here because you have the perception of the audience from the writers, you have the the executive production team's view of the writers, and then the actual studio executives overall of it. And I would have to say that a writer, I give it probably 2 years. About a year for things to settle down and disappear, another year of positive growth and renewed attention and vigor. But once they see that upturn, there are going to be writers who will want to think that they can try to get away with shoehorning things like those back in again. Whether or not it is successful and actually gets through to the final product, I'm not sure if that would happen amongst the first attempts like that. But I do see someone in the creative process trying it after a good 12 months minimum of positive growth as a result of the newer material.
I don't know if I would give it 10 or if I would go 12 months now, as it is currently with, well, all the rest of the shit as well. I think I would give it around about-ish 4 to maybe 5 months after they're finished with, how was it, the Book of Fett. If Kennedy gets booted out.
Now, I see it being at least closer to a year simply because you're going to have a lot of shock and a lot of office talk about what it was that ultimately led to her being canned or highly encouraged to resign. So you're going to have at least 6 months of people really toning it back, going almost overcorrecting in the other direction for that time period. And then they start to realize, okay, I'm here, I survived that, I'm comfortable enough. But meanwhile, work is still taking place and time is still going along there. I see it being at least a couple of months before that after that transition takes place. So once we actually get to start seeing it, it'll be close to that year mark when it's getting presented and it's going through however their quality assurances are going to be done. Because I think that's one thing that they're going to end up changing as part of that management change is you're going to have better oversight, at least in the immediate aftermath of how things are being written, presented, and designed. It's a question of when do those checks and balances ease up? That's going to be the key there.
Yeah, that's still what I'm saying. I think it'll be sooner than that. Because I think that with Kennedy being, well, booted, if she's being booted, it'll turn into one of those situations where someone will try to pick up. First of all, someone will try to pick up after her. and they will try to carry on her legacy because, well, a lot of these people, or many of these people, are fucking tone deaf. Then, when that's done, someone will try to essentially pick up after that person when that person gets to boot as well, or that person gets told off, and will try to use it as a, oh, look at me, I'm martyred. It hasn't even been that long, and now they're going after us as well.
Yeah, and apparently we have quite the. So in the last 48 hours, not just Mike Zero, who Davros linked a video to from just the other day, Thursday actually. Kennedy is getting executive control of certain things chipped away. And a video that he released just a little over 6 hours ago, Kathleen Kennedy finally in trouble with Star Wars, and references a writer being removed, a Kennedy-hired writer being removed. So that's what I mean is there's going to be a transition period and an overcorrection within the studio. The question is, how quickly do they go from that restructuring to comfort to trying again? I see the restructure taking at least 4 months. And then you're going to need a couple months of people to get comfortable. And then it's from that point, from that 6-month mark, do people immediately start trying to throw the shit back in? Or are they still going to be scared from what just happened a few months prior? I think people are going to be a little more scared for a little bit longer. That's my view of it.
I think only time will be able to tell right now, at least as it is with all this going on. Because right now we don't even know that she's been kicked out. Not proper.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So far, the reports are that she has been removed from control and input on individual projects, not the position as a whole as of yet, but people are saying that there's blood in the water. There have been anonymous sources from the offices actually lending credence to a lot of the whole she's on the way out talk that has been happening. Which, if that's the case, about fucking time by my read, because has nothing to do with her identity or anything. It all has to do with the decisions and her management of what she was given. Or shall we call it mismanagement? Because Star Wars has not made the money for Disney that they thought it was going to.
Yeah, Disney, a studio which they have the resources, both money-wise and what's it called, personnel-wise, to make proper Disney content using live action, using what's it called, animatronics, using proper props, doing this in a proper way so we don't get another fucking Attack of the Clones where everything is fucking green screen.
Mm-hmm.
They could build up, or they could build this up, do it the way that they've been doing with The Mandalorian, and just have it so that you have so many more effects that they're actually there. People can react to them as if they're actually there.
Yeah, trying to get genuine reactions from CG effects is very difficult, and it actually takes the combination of an exceptionally good actor with a great director and an equally talented effects artist. If you have all three, it can work to where you have computer generated effects that give the illusion and give the appearance of a practical effect, But if any one of those three is off, you notice it.
Okay, I have to agree with Fohammer. The Clone Wars was awesome. Attack of the Clones, not so much.
Yeah, Clone Wars was really good. But Attack of the Clones was...
CGI bullshit.
Yeah. And there was just so much of it that just... It took you out of the movie. It made you sit there and think there was some kind of high school project where people were just trying to film it in front of a green screen and thinking that, yeah, this looks fucking good. It was...
Yeah, and that's where the talent of the effects artists come into play, because a good effects artist can take something that is less than ideal of raw material, but still work with it and not have a glaring kind of reaction from the viewers. But I will admit, practical effects are still the way to go if you can pull it off, depending on what you're trying to do. I mean, let's look at the remake of oh god, what was that movie? The Thing. Was it The Thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they wanted to go with practical effects.
Yeah, where they actually did some filming with practical effects for some of the scenes. But it was deemed to be too costly and went with the CG effects instead. And you can tell the difference. And it wasn't JM Truth level bad, but not far off.
Yeah.
That's also called After Effects.
No, it was just lifeless. I think that's the best way to put it. Whereas in The Thing, or in the original, one of the fucking scenes, they brought in someone who had both of his fucking arms amputated so that they could make a scene with someone getting his arms chewed off. And you can't really tell it right there if you don't know about it. You can see that it's not actually the same character if you look at it, well, afterwards, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't tell it when you're watching a movie. You're still immersed in it. You're really immersed in the story that's being brought up and the way that the characters are acting. But that's something you rarely get that from any kind of CGI. Even something like, say, the Avengers, with their entire fucking budget, and, well, it's not just a little budget there either. Even with that, they still act as if they're on a green screen most of the time. They act as if their main concern is, how do I look compared to the rest of the shit that I can't see?
Yeah, well, it's more one of those, okay, it's a little more mechanical, is the way I would explain it, is that I need to hit my marks, but it doesn't appear as natural in the movements.
No, that's where something like The Thing, where essentially everything going into The Thing is very much so animalistic. It's primal. Everything from the dogs, everything from the dogs, and something to where, what's his name? The old guy, the guy who chops up all the communication equipment, where he goes to the other guy and digs his fingers into his face. It's something where it doesn't feel like it's something that's added on afterwards. It doesn't feel like, okay, yeah, you go over there and you put your hand on his face and we're going to do this afterwards. It gives off the feeling that, okay, yeah, he goes over there and he actually does this.
Oh, Mute Donkey was asking which Thing remake we were referencing. When was that one released?
16?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's about 5-6 years ago, and comparing that to
Oh,
the
11.
even yeah, so about 10 years ago, where computer effects were actually not that far off from where we are now. Like when you think about it, the computer effects, while they have increased and improved in some areas, overall it's marginally better.
Let's make a comparison there, though, or take a comparison. Serenity was released in 2005.
Hmm.
Serenity looks better than The Thing. And even though they aren't the same kind of effects, there's still a market difference.
Well, they still used a fair amount of practical effects. Granted, a lot of it was makeup on actual actual actors, so you do have that aspect. But you do have some of the shots where they blended practical with CG. Like you have this CG view of the Reaver ship, and then it transitions into the practical effect of what happened with Wash.
Yeah. And you have stuff like, you remember the giant gas turbine or reactor near the end.
Hmm.
That was also all CGI, just in background of characters. And that was still something that was really, it was blended in such a way that it didn't stick out. It didn't feel like, okay, this is a character in front of green screen. It was well made.
Yeah. And I go back to what I was saying before. If you have that triumvirate of talented actor or actors, director, and effects artists, you will get that sort of blending between the two, between the live shots and the CG, without where it does look to be as seamless as possible with the technology and tools available. And if you're missing any one of them, you end up with something akin to.
Planet Predator.
No, I was actually thinking of Ed Norton's version of the Hulk.
Oh, that, yeah. Bad taste, bad taste.
And
In your description, I'll give you that, but
there's a reason why I went there, because talk about having the budget for effects and just pissing it away.
Yeah. But it really does make you wonder, though. With, say, for example, something like the Hulk, one of the main things that's important in it is the Hulk. That is, well, essentially everything the movie's supposed to be about.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of
What?
don't want to screw up your main character.
Yeah, but not just that. When you have a character like that, how fucking hard is it to make him not stand out like a fucking sore green thumb? Because he's supposed to be, he's supposed to stick out in the movie universe, but he's still supposed to be within the fucking universe. It's not supposed to look like, okay, yeah, we did some shit and then we had some 3D artists just, shoving a green fucking character into it.
Donkey said that he liked the Ed Norton version of Hulk. Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb and take a guess that Liv Tyler had a big influence on that one.
She might even have two.
I watched it recently and I think it still holds up. Yeah, but okay. Sorry, Donkey, but there's a reason why the MCU didn't really take off until Iron Man. Okay. I can't disagree with that one. The Eric Bana one.
Yes.
Well, here's a question. Name a role that Eric Bana did that was good.
Nero, because he wasn't talking as much.
No, because the handful of scenes where he did talk did kind of ruin it, especially that exposition when he was towards the end of the movie in 09. Watch Chopper. That might end up on the list. I'll have to take... Hang on. Let me take a look at what this... Yes, the 2009 reboot of Star Trek by Abrams. Chopper movie. Oh, it's a 2000 crime drama starring Eric Bana. Ah, it's an Australian film. This could be interesting. And the story is okay. Huh. All right, that will be put onto the list of potentials going forward. The Hulk is all about the change, and the Avengers nailed it at the scene. I agree with Tiny Captain there. This was a good movie, and I played a role he can handle. Okay.
Well, I mean, there was Troy in 2004, but I think that was more of Orlando Bloom's fault and Brad Pitt's fault than it was Eric's fault.
Yeah, he did fit the role. Actually, yeah. And that's okay. Yeah. Just look up Eric was in Ang Lee's The Hulk. Yep. Yeah. Who died a few years ago and was a... Yeah, I started seeing that it was actually based on the story from the actual titular character, which is... Those can be rather interesting. But then again, sometimes you kind of want an outlandish character. Like, honestly, Natural Born Killers was quite the movie and quite the memorable experience. Good luck doing a movie like that now and getting similar acceptance from both the audience and critics. Seems like the divide between the two has gotten worse.
Well, critics right now are more prone to want to do shit that makes them, keep being critics and keep getting invited to shit.
Wait, you mean the studios and those in charge of the actual media are giving preferential treatment that say what they want them to say?
No. Never happens.
But even... Go on.
He is very outlandish and it's a true-ish story. Oh, so like Catherine the Great. Which, yes. That series, is it Hulu or Amazon? I think it's Hulu. Where it's about Catherine the Great, but it's shall we say, a comedically enhanced version of the events that took place. And it was actually rather enjoyable. And that's the thing, is not everything has to be true to form. Not everything has to be, shall we say, documentary-esque in its replication of what happened. You gotta give some creative license, because, let's face it, it is supposed to be entertaining.
But we do have an issue, though, of people trying to be as accurate to the source material as possible, except for some things. That
Mute
they
Donkey
try.
does have a point about the 2008 Hulk, by the way. The deleted scene.
Yes. Oh, and that's another thing, is a lot of the deleted material that around movies like that should have been kept in. Like, Zack Snyder and Justice League. Yes, it was a 4-hour fucking movie. It could have been broken up easily into 2 movies. But holy shit, was the storytelling so much better than the Joss Whedon takeover that we had gotten.
But they. Go on.
And Webard has a point. Case in point, Inglorious Bastards. Yes. Very enjoyable movie. Completely unrealistic, but such a fun movie to watch. Tarantino does have his moments like that.
Tarantino has moments. What?
But I feel like. Go on.
Not everything can be Reservoir Dogs, so for him to have some subpar movies in between, yeah, not everyone's going to be at the top of their game the entire time, especially a crazy bastard like him.
But this is something too. Some movies have to be made in a certain time. They can't be made outside of that time. Say something like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That had to be made at that time. You can't make that today. It won't have the same impact today. And with the way the technology is today, it won't make any sense. It had to be that, or it had to be back then.
Yeah, there's a particular context needed.
Yeah, and then you have stylistic choices too. Like, well, Existence. One of those really fucking weird as shit 90s movies. Which, yeah, you can't make that today. Not because, it's impossible to make the movie itself, but because people today won't be able to watch it and see it for what it is.
What was that really weird one with Jennifer Lopez? Was at The Cell? That was just all over the place.
Yeah, I think that's the one you're thinking of.
And wasn't that late 90s or was that early 2000s?
Give me a second. I actually have the IMDb up.
Because that was one of those that...
2000?
Yep.
Yeah, right to that. Yeah, so you have that transition period where you're getting into a bit more of the gore aspect of horror. But it worked in such a way that, shall we say, was a bit more avant-garde, where it was insane, yet beautiful, yet terrifying. And having that mix, a lot of people couldn't handle it. Yeah, trippy really is a great way to describe that one.
I think you could handle it better if you were on something, actually, but
there are some movies that require a bit of an enhancer to truly get the most out of it. And hell, we could even go back as far into Pink elephants on parade, anyone?
You know, that is a wonderful reference to the mouse again.
As long as it isn't that, the something starting with 3 letters, the first one being a C, I think we should be safe. The people in charge of a certain franchise that isn't Star Wars.
Yeah. They have their own wonderful decision-making processes that should be questioned.
Yeah. Here's a question, though. What movies could be remade today and be remade better than they were to begin with? That was still good to begin with.
So far, nothing Disney has done live action from the animated classics.
I was trying to expand it in general, and I initially wanted to say Dune. But even then, I have my doubts because... why do people insist on designing armor that would be completely impractical?
You mean armor that would, if you fire at it, ricochet up into the fucking face of the wearer?
Yeah.
Wibbert, do you mean the old Metropolis one, or do you mean the anime one? Because there is the first Metropolis, the old black and white movie. And then there was a movie. When was that released? I think early 2000s.
Yeah. Ooh, Rodent does have a good one that would be interesting to see how it could be done now. Flash Gordon.
Savior of the Universe?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I'm not sure if the original Metropolis would work today. At least not as such.
See, and I'm unfamiliar with that one.
It's a I don't even know what to say about it.
Ooh,
It's really hard to describe just like that.
a heavy metal remake could be interesting.
Do we call that Fact 2?
Well, I guess I could see a remake of Heavy Metal actually working in a way, because that disconnected yet connected storytelling has actually already been done. And actually done, in my opinion, in an enjoyable way with Sin City. How you have all these little stories that actually have a thread running through all of them. But then again, Frank Miller is actually pretty good with that shit.
But it takes some specific direction too.
Yes. Yeah, that is another thing. It's not an easy style to pull off. Heavy Metal's anthology series on HBO. Okay. Yes, I agree with Dora. We never got any sort of explanation on the 3 seashells.
For better or worse.
I am still curious as to just how they actually work. Like, even if it is as simple as, well, think about a futuristic bidet. Okay, that makes sense. That would work to me. That would be a very reasonable and simple explanation. But I can see why they didn't say it, because how many people in the 90s even knew what a bidet was in the US?
4.
I point you towards, was it Crocodile Dundee 2?
Ooh. Webbard with another one that would be interesting. Imagine if you brought on Tim Burton to do a remake of the original Mad Max.
I don't know. I don't think that Johnny Depp would actually be good as Mad Max.
I don't know. He is getting kind of out there with the sanity aspect of it, so it might be able to play it off. Then again, it might just be a little too much of a Jack Sparrow fast forwarded in time.
There is one movie though that I would like to see it I would like to see it redone. And I know that it can't be redone. Misery.
Ooh. That could actually work.
I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what happens when a fan goes off the deep end? It kind of makes you wonder, how close to an experience like that did King actually have?
On drugs or
Before the enhancements that actually gets his writing to take off. So, like, what real world event did he experience or find out about that gave him the idea for the premise to begin with?
it's really hard to tell just by how some of the details are and how extreme some of it is. It seems a bit more than, oh, I just read about this.
Hey, Rodent, we're talking about things that might actually happen and be possible.
You know, after watching the Snyder cut of Justice League, I want to say there's hope for the prequels of Star Wars, but let's be honest, not in the multiverse is that possible.
No.
I don't know. The Veil of the Force might be able to help with some things like that. For being the MacGuffin of all MacGuffins, I really do hope that they use it to just reboot the sequel trilogy. It's elegant in its simplicity, despite it being totally overpowered. But like that has ever stopped them in any of the franchises ever before.
But can we get a Star Wars sequel trilogy Lucas remaster?
Be right back, guys.
And it's completely fucking different movies.
Hmm. And then you have your decision point following Jedi of which universe you go towards.
Yeah, pretty much. Although, I will say, I do want John Boyega to be in if they were to do a complete reshoot of the entire trilogy. So that he can actually get his, not comeuppance, what's the word?
Get an opportunity to have a decent character.
Yeah, a redemption.
Yeah. Because that is another thing that the way they've handled that character, even just in the promotion material, was really fucked up at Disney. I mean,
They did him dirty.
they did. Although I do find it a little cathartic and also funny that a lot of the newer material promoting May the 4th for this year coming up doesn't even reference the sequel trilogy at all.
I wonder why. It's almost like people didn't want it because it's shit.
You know, Webart, I am there with you. I did enjoy that trade dispute aspect being the initial crux of episode 1, at least at the beginning. It actually gave a good view of to what the Republic was like at that time prior to the Clone Wars, and how the Jedi were a de facto uber police force for the entire galaxy, which does start to show why things could have and did play out the way they did. There were great parts about the storytelling of the prequels like that, but it was just such a massive undertaking that I think where Lucas went wrong with it is having such a heavy bit of story to tell in just 3 movies.
Yeah, because with that, we can see it, or rather, we get to see his vision more clearly in the Clone Wars. In the Clone Wars, it really shows the hypocrisy, the oh, we are better, we are so good that we can't lose of the old Republic, or yeah, of the Republic. There, we can see the way that they were acting in matters where
They were
should,
arrogant.
yeah, and them being backed up by the Jedi, who are also fucking arrogant. We can see exactly where it went wrong. We can see exactly where it, well, got fucked over. But I would actually, I wouldn't mind something where we can see a standalone movie just in regards to how things were working within the Republic at the time. So you get to see not just the hypocrisy, but the way that people are actively sabotaging things because they aren't going the way that they are perceiving that they should be going, if that makes sense.
If you had all that story to tell, why did we endure hours of pod racing? hey, Rex, even Lucas admitted that the bulk of the story he had to tell was actually the latter half of episode 2 and episode 3. There was a lot of filler in episode 1, and that's where, had it actually been spaced out and handled better and not so rushed, it could have been a lot better. We're not saying that the prequel trilogy is undeserving of a once over to refresh it and make improvements here or there with appropriate upgrades. Yes, the pod racing scene needs to be addressed.
No, actually, leave the pod racing scene in so that we can get another Star Wars pod racing game.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying get rid of it completely. Just utilize
burn it
it.
all.
Just utilize it better.
Just burn it all. I don't know what we're talking about, but just burn it all.
Not just the men, but the women and children
Oh,
too.
God.
I've seen that several times wrote in the last name.
Mr. Pinkett, I haven't watched as much of the material, but the material I have seen has been well done from that channel. Ooh, you know, Donkey, I can agree with you on that one. A VR pod racing game would be fun. But then again, I'm the type that if I had a VR rig, The game that I would actually get for it and intend my system to be able to handle and everything, I would actually get DCS. I would go with a genuine, real world, accurate enough flight sim in that regard. Because that could be fun. But I'd want more of the interface to actually be conducive for a proper sim. So it would be like I'm actually there in the cockpit.
Well, I heard that the new flight simulator from Microsoft is actually a lot better.
Yeah.
It includes actual information from
Oh,
the airport you're landing at.
Yeah, well, yeah, they actually have the option for live weather conditions at all of the airports that they monitor. If the airport is in the game, you can actually have the live weather of that location as you're playing the game.
Here is the question, though. Will it come with a guy who's got a rubber mullet, so that if you pull more than 6 to 7 Gs for a longer time, he whacks you over the head as you pass out?
I can't say that he does, but that is actually one thing I noticed in a lot of the gameplay videos I've watched of DCS, that if you start going into over G situations, it actually fades the screen and actually does the tunnel vision. Which, that is a nice touch. Hey, we got a... Oh god, the blue on green sucks. Intellectual iconoclasm, yes. Renewing his channel membership, which, thank you, good sir. Oh, by the way, don't be afraid to talk about anything you want on the Discord server. It has been handed down from myself to the mods, and this is a reminder for anyone who's on the server. Unless you are being blatantly racist, sexist, or in any way violating potential criminality aspects and terms of service of Discord itself, no topic is off limits. No opinion is off limits. Just be ready to support why you hold whatever position you have, because if you present something, I'm curious as to why. Not to admonish you, not to challenge you or shame you. It's just, okay, you think that. Why do you think that? Let's have a discussion, because I am not static in a lot of my positions. I enjoy the conversations. That's why it's there. Let's do it.
Also, let's be honest, it's fun to know how other people come to certain conclusions.
Yeah. Ooh. Rodent? I think that was actually what they were going with initially for Squadrons. A VR graphics update to the original Star Wars flight sims. But I think if they actually took the storylines from X-Wing and TIE Fighter and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and then just pretty much redid those games with the advanced graphics, that could be a lot of fun.
Do I need to bring up the... was it? I think it's the TIE Fighter Total Conversion mod. Yes, it is. There you go. Where they're essentially doing that.
Ooh.
Yep. Which, mind you, is also supposed to be, as far as I know, VR compatible.
Well, Squadrons is VR compatible. So if they did...
Yeah, but I mean, something that isn't just a more casual game, per se.
Bella charges in here trying to stir up trouble, Jared.
Yeah, you know what? Everyone is entitled to their opinion, even if they're wrong. I would just like you to explain why you came to the wrong conclusion.
That wouldn't be.
I did enjoy playing Rogue Squadron. That was back in my younger days when I actually had time for all these games.
I would say that the main thing that makes me kind of sad now about Rogue Squadron is that it was made to be compatible as a port for the Nintendo 64 as well. And that fucks with it so hard if you try to play it on PC today.
Yeah, see, I know it was had that console option too, but I only played it on PC back in the day and haven't even thought about seeing how it would run on a modern computer. But now imagine if they remade that one for modern computers today. Don't worry about the cross compatibility. Just make it work for just today's PCs, because let's be honest, the graphics capability between consoles and PCs really are not that dissimilar in what you actually see and experience as the player. But a lot of these games are going to be a lot easier to reformulate and rewrite with the modern technology for PC.
Well, just in the same vein as that, or Star Wars Dark Forces, and Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, and Dark Forces 3 Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast.
What, you mean that they have a problem with naming conventions? No.
Then you have Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Knight Academy. That are separate from those, yeah.
Not sure.
And then Mysteries of the Sith. And yeah. But I wouldn't mind them being remade either. Or at least update the fucking engines you can play today.
Okay, so Bella Charge. Okay, I'm gonna read this out because this is a topic dear to my heart. If they weren't going to do more than one season, they should have just done the movie. It's like Stargate Universe. To leave off where they did was just a slight to the followers. Here's the problem. Firefly was not intended to be a one and done thing. But because the executives and scheduling directors of the Fox network made the decision to not air the episodes in order on initial release, it really screwed with the presentation of the series itself. And so it didn't get the viewership, and then they started messing with its time slot, which once Fox starts messing with the time slot of a show, it's not going to last long. So you really have Fox to blame, not Whedon or any other part of the development and creative side of the show. It was not intended to be a one and done thing. Season 1 was establishing the crew itself, and they actually intended to go more into Book's background in Season 2. But then they got canceled. And so those stories ended up coming out in the extra material that they did through comics and other sorts. So that storytelling still got out there. But then, because of the growth as a cult classic, they decided to do the movie, and some people thought that they were going to get into that with the movie. But again, single movie, you're really limited on what stories you can or can't tell. So they ended up, I fucking knew it.
I think Bella's been on the team's dick a little too much. That's why.
I am withholding judgment on things like that. But yeah, and that's the thing is this Firefly as a series, the series of Firefly was mishandled by the network. It it was given a chance because Whedon had a history because of Buffy and the spin-offs from that. But then the network just screwed it over. And then when they decided to make the movie, they were limited with what they could do, so they kind of had to just quickly recap where everyone is and then go from there with the story, so we didn't get that further development of book in that form. Yeah. Oh, what? No, 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 no. Not every network messes with good shows, but Fox does.
And there's other ones. Yeah.
Fox and CBS are
Oh shit! Now we're gonna get
Special.
demonetized.
are kissing cousins in that aspect. Actually, hang on. Let me take a look at something.
So they're from Alabama?
Sure, we'll go with that. Let's see if the monetization has gone away already. Let's see just how quick this is. Live net. Nope, we're still green.
For now.
For now. Yeah, this is true. This is very true. But
here is a
go ahead.
Here's a question though. What company would be willing now to make a completely franchise or movie related console like we've had before, say with the specific Star Wars consoles or anything like that, where you had a console that was just made for that?
I'm not entirely sure about that one.
Because it used to be that, oh yeah, this movie's releasing, and you had a plethora of different shit like, well, yeah, consoles or game systems related just to that were made specifically for that, not just a vinyl sticker on it. How much of that would we have today? Or how much would it be that, okay, it's not worth it. If it goes really well, we might be able to make some money on it, but the investment is so much that it isn't worth it for us to chance it.
Yeah, and I think that is the ultimate decision-making bit that every network and studio has to go through is the risk worth the potential loss? Or should we go with something a little more known to try to safeguard our return on investment? I do understand that train of thinking and that genesis for a lot of the decisions. But how many times has that decision-making process been shown to be erroneous when it comes to certain things? And for the question about what CBS has done, have you seen the state of Star Trek recently?
Okay, check it again now and see. Actually, that would be kind of funny. Could you have that as a live refresh thing, just refreshing every 10 seconds
to see
on a live stream?
To see at what point does it go yellow monetization. You know, I think we could rig something up to do that, just not for tonight.
Because that would just be funny. And then having a talk about certain franchises, which they are slightly iffy about people talking about, unless they go, well, balls deep on it.
Proper reach around too. Don't forget that.
Yeah, I'd just be willing to see how long the stream could go before it turns yellow. I can just see it being not too long. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy is maybe a bit of a. I'm not going to say a lying son of a bitch trying just to get her own path through or her own stuff through there, but not too far off.
You know, for as much as I've enjoyed what I've seen of the series, I have to agree with Donkey and Bella Charge on one. Did Supernatural need to run as long as it has?
Yes and no. It's one of those. It didn't need to. It could have been tightened up better, but it's trying to be the live action Simpsons, basically.
Simpsons kind of needs to go away too now.
They needed to go away about 10, 15 years ago.
I would say 10. 5 to 10 on The Simpsons. Supernatural was supposed to be 5 seasons. Yeah.
What do they make it up to? Like 13, 14 seasons?
Something.
But just speaking of those, though, and shows that are both too short and just right. One that's just right, Futurama.
Yes.
7 seasons, just perfectly finishing it off without going into repetition or going into we need to find some shit that's just there to fill it out.
15 seasons, Jared.
Oh boy. Now, here is I have to call this one out because I'm sure that there are some people who have been wondering this one. Mark Beiser, I recently rewatched the JJ Verse movies. I'd forgotten how bad they are. Mark, you realized that we stopped doing the movie reviews at Nemesis?
Should have stopped after Insurrection, but you know.
No, we had to do Nemesis because we had to prove the point that Nemesis was unnecessary. They could have much more easily wrapped up the movie line of storytelling for the TNG crew with Insurrection.
Well, but how else are you supposed to get Admiral Janeway in?
By pivoting to one of the other remaining crews. Like, you could have actually gone into other aspects of Star Trek for the movie franchise from either of the other series. Like, but the problem is you had such a saturation and such a prolonged bit that the media itself was changing at that point, that they weren't confident enough to see where they could go following Insurrection and Nemesis. And then when you look at the actual fiscal returns of how they did at the box office, that was the nail in the coffin. The money wasn't there to warrant doing the further movie projects until they had that gap, and then J.J. Abrams came in and said, hey, I want to redo this, I want to rethink this, but instead of picking up where things left off, let's go back to the beginning and play with things from there. Which, I am not against reboots. I am not against rethinking and readjusting material that's out there. Oh, god damn it.
I love that comes up on IMDb every time.
Wow. But here's the thing. If you're going to play with an established history of a series, there is a good way to do it, and there is a good way to fuck it up. For all of the flack that the JJ movies have rightfully gotten and deserved, he tried to do it right in that saying from day one, this is not going to be your father or grandfather's Star Trek. The names may be familiar, things may be somewhat familiar, but it's not going to be the same. And by admitting that from day one, you get a lot more latitude to flex your creative muscles.
Here's
Yeah.
a show, though. Here's a
Sorry, go for it.
here's a show, though, that didn't go on for as long as it should have. And sure, it's not sci-fi, but yeah. BoJack Horseman. In the way that
Okay, go on.
they had a lot more story to flesh out. They had a lot more that they could go over, and the guy in charge of it said that he did have more that he could go with. He had so much more that he could actually put into it. But they decided to end it early. And not just end it early, the second to last episode was perfect. It showed everything really well with the characters, the end of the main character, etc. But then they decided to add another episode, the end episode, which takes all of that, takes the rest of the series, takes a huge fucking dump on it, runs it over the ass crack a couple of times, and then sets it on fire. Because they don't want to be able to do anything else about it afterwards.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Intellectual Iconoclasm did make a good point. JJ had to do Star Trek in order to get Star Wars. But the problem is that there are different studios that were managing them. But, it's... Can we just admit that very few people are deserving of the golden cow status kind of thing? All right. Wait.
So, with that, do we get a Dogma remake?
Ooh. While it would be interesting, I say no. Because I think the current version and available viewing of Dogma that we have will fail in comparison, because can you really recast and replace George Carlin from that movie?
Not just George Carlin, Alan Rickman, Jay Silent Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree with Glober Mom. Leave it alone.
But now that it's been said, how many months do you think it'll take until you see someone trying to remake it?
Remaking that, I don't see it. Well, I think there are people who may think it and may put the idea out there. I don't see it happening.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because for some fucking reason, people like just fucking shit up. And how much do you want to bet that the main character will be portrayed by Melissa McCarthy?
Yeah, I have not been a fan of hers.
I can't blame you.
Yeah, there are some actors who end up playing such similar roles that I see the name attached to it and it just immediately makes me not want to watch it. Jason Bateman is one of the opposite, is where I will give something a chance because he's in it, because I have enjoyed his work and I have not been disappointed by his work or performance. Melissa McCarthy, though? Eh? Eh?
Yeah, no.
Ooh, that would be interesting. A remake of Clerks in color. At that point, I would say instead of remaking it, use the original footage, just go ahead and colorize it. Because, the problem with if they were to try to remake something like the original Clerks, there would be so much recasting required that it would lose something. There was something about the performances that the actors in that movie gave that added to the charm of the movie.
So we're talking about Clerks, huh?
Yeah, now we are. Which, apparently there's talk of Clerks 3. I'm...
You know, what's funny is I was actually just watching season 4 of The Flash, and it's funny watching Jay and Silent Bob have their own little skit in the show. Speaking of Kevin Smith and all,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. Here is something that we can actually spend the last bit of today's show talking about, and thank you, Webbard, for making me think of it. He said, I watched Thunder Force the other day. It's a bad movie, but I really, really enjoyed myself watching it. What is your favorite objectively bad movie? So, horrible movie, sci-fi or not, you knowingly admit it is a bad movie, but you like watching it anyways.
To be honest, it's the nostalgia that gets me, but it's the original Mortal Kombat movie. That movie was so horrible from A to B to Z, but yet I still find myself enjoying watching it.
Okay, yeah, I can see that one.
Oh God, Mute Donkey has a list.
That seems to be a running theme with you, Donkey. You seem to be a list person.
But he's not really opposed to some Brahms either.
Nice. So with that, Leon, come on. I know you. I know there's a lot of messed up movies and shows that you watch. What is one that is objectively bad? Like, you don't even try to deny that it was a bad movie or a bad show, yet you still liked watching. What comes to mind?
It's the narrowing down to one that's an issue here.
Oh, if you got a few of them that are competing, by all means.
I just thought of one too. It's technically the start of the MCU as well. Howard the Duck.
Well, I would say
I actually enjoy watching that from time to time, but it is objectively a horrible movie.
I would say that one of them would be Immortal. Not Immortal, but Immortal. A French movie that's... It's slow, it's got a lot of CGI bullshit, it's got pacing issues, it's got issues with what the fuck the movie's actually about. But it's funny and schlocky, and it's really hard to beat it.
Who here's a fan of the Iron Chef America TV show?
I'm aware of it. I wouldn't say a fan, but I'm aware of it. And are you going to reference something that has the chairman in it?
Yes, although I wouldn't call it necessarily a bad movie. It is definitely a cult type of movie, but Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Is that the French one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one.
I only found out about it because it was on the boat.
Oh.
Speaking of which, remind me, I have a story to ask you when we get into VTW about the Kitty Hawk. I ran into a guy who worked on the boilers on the Kitty Hawk the other day at work. At the same time you were there.
Yeah, so I think I know what the story he may have brought up is. Because, oh boy. yeah, that was a special. Special. Yeah. And you know what? Webbard, thank you. Sucker Punch was an objectively bad movie. The effects were great. Emily Browning is actually quite the actress and isn't bad to look at either. But I acknowledge it is a bad movie. Yet I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie Sucker Punch. I could go watch that right now and be perfectly happy.
I'm just so happy that no one said Highlander 2.
What is this Highlander 2 you speak of? I'm unfamiliar with it.
It's the one where we get to meet Conor McLeod's brother.
Again, Highlander. I thought it ended after the Highlander and then the TV show.
No, you have Highlander, you have the TV show, but then you have Endgame.
Don't forget,
isn't that the one with Christian Edge from WWE?
So that you also had, oh god, what was it?
The animated one.
Before the animated one, the one with Mario Van Peebles as the bad guy.
Oh yeah, that one.
Highlander 3.
Yeah,
that one's Highlander 2.
I don't think it was number 3.
It was number 3.
It had something else as the title.
Hold on. It was Highlander, The Final Dimension.
That's what I was trying to remember. It was Final something. Aliens or time travels for Highlander 2. Highlander 2 was the alien story genesis of why they were pseudo-immortals.
Well, the worst thing is that Highlander 2 could have been a good movie if handled correctly. It could have actually been something where they didn't over-explain it, but it gave more of an idea as to how did this shit actually happen without being, without fucking up the first movie. But no. We're just gonna fuck this shit up and, stuff. So sad.
Brotherhood of the Wolf actually has a collector's edition Blu-ray coming out later this year.
Oh, wow. So I just did a search on Google for bad movies that are good. And
There's the chairman.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wait. They went back and edited Highlander 2 to change it from aliens from the planet Zeist to time travelers?
That wouldn't surprise me.
Why not both?
Oh my god. The one that I saw when I was young. No, they were aliens from the planet Zeist. Holy shit! Talk about tweaking a movie and making it fucking worse. Oh, I just remembered another one. So, Jay, you wanted to go back into the mid '80s with Howard the Duck?
Okay.
I got a better one for you. Masters of the Universe. I loved that movie as a kid, okay?
Oh, hey, I still watch it from time to time. I even, when I had the disc rental for Netflix, ordered it a couple times. There's just some nostalgia there.
All right, let's see.
Intellectual Iconoclasm, the 1980s Dune wasn't actually bad. It was just mishandled a bit.
Death to Smoochie? It's just not what you expect from Robin Williams.
Yeah, I
wouldn't call it bad. Death to Smoochie was not a bad movie in that sense. It's just, again, Robin Williams trying to do something other than his family-friendly-ish comedy, doing more of his stand-up comedy style of stuff.
Okay, so I'm going through this list, and there are a number of movies here that just... they're quotable. I don't think that they should be on this list because they're quotable. So, hang on, let me
see the list.
There you go to you, and I will post it into the live chat for everyone else as well.
Okay, sure.
So go ahead and open it up, because
you want me to start at the bottom or start from the top?
Start at the bottom.
Okay, so 20 of 20.
Let's do a countdown. So this is from yardbarker.com, and it is the 20 best bad movies of all time, and it starts off with Sharknado. Other than the premise being maybe a bit comical, what about this movie would allow anyone to put it in the top 20 of not being horrendous?
Hype.
It's the start of a very, very bad franchise.
Or is it the fact that it has a couple names to it that give people funny feelings of nostalgia? And hey, maybe Tara Reid actually is looking closer to her. Hey, no, she doesn't. Just stop. You should get that expectation out of your head right now.
All right. And with that, we go up to
Birdemic Shock and Terror. Gotta say, not familiar with it. Take a full 47 minutes to make their first appearance. Okay, so they're going the Hitchcock route of psychological horror. I mean, is it supposed to be kind of a satire-ish, parody-ish remake of The Birds?
It sounds like it.
All right,
romantic horror movie, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. All right. And
The Wicker Man.
Okay, now here we're getting to something. Yes, objectively bad movie that most people remember for one reason, and one reason.
Not the bees.
Oh, sorry. Two reasons. You have the bees, but then also, what does it burn? So, yes, meme-tastic. Okay, great. Oh, and speaking of a meme-tastic movie.
Oh, hi, Mark.
You're tearing me apart.
Uh,
This is one I have not seen the entirety of the movie, and I refuse to actually watch the movie. Fuck you, Leon. I know what you're thinking.
I haven't said anything.
You don't need to.
here you go. Let's
Anyway,
move on
how's your
to
sex life?
the worst movie I've ever heard of. I haven't even watched it yet.
Okay, so Spice World, is that really classified as a movie or an overblown music video?
Yes.
Overblown commercial. Showgirls, okay.
This one I could see, yes, objectively a bad movie, but still enjoyable. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways,
Ooh, some real
That is some damn
nostalgia
good
here.
coffee, though.
what was that, Leon?
That is some damn good coffee, though.
True. Now, this is another one that I remember watching growing up. The Super Mario Brothers movie. I mean, let's think about the game to begin with. You have... I mean, what is the cross comparison of Mario? An Italian man that jumps like an African American designed by a Japanese man.
There's more to it than that.
Oh,
There's four things.
I'm stopping there for particular reasons.
We have to go all the way.
And then you have Bob Hoskins is the one that was cast as him.
Oh, come on. But John Leguizamo is Luigi?
Okay. John Leguizamo is one of my most favorite character actors from the 90s and early 2000s. I mean, can you really think of anyone else who would have been able to pull off being in movies like this or Spawn as the clown and pull it off to where, okay, you enjoy it. Which, by the way, even I prefer the HBO animated series of Spawn. I actually have all of them on DVD right there. But the movie itself wasn't...
It wasn't great.
It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It could have been better. But they did get hamstrung because they went with a PG-13 rating instead of PG or R.
And then the overuse of CGI.
Yeah.
Troll 2.
All right, Troll 2 again. Most people know of this movie for one reason and one reason alone. What are they doing? Oh my god! Oh my god!
Roadhouse.
And yes, Rodent, I will agree with you on that. Leguizamo's portrayal of the clown really is the best part of that first attempt at a live-action Spawn movie. Roadhouse, to me, that did not fit the bad movie criteria. For me, it was the typical 80s Swayze movie. Now, this one, on the other hand... yeah. Yeah, just... And then... I wasn't even aware of this one, and it popped up on the list.
I forgot about this one.
I've never seen it.
There is I think it's a Mr. Plinkett review of Ishtar 2, or it's at least been on one of the either Wheel of the Worst or Best of the Worst, or one of those.
Yeah. Now we're getting into true territory. Bad movies that are actually good to watch and enjoyable. And right here, this is what actually reminded me, Masters of the Universe. It was so dated. It was such an 80s movie in every manner. And the story was so outlandish and cheesy and admittedly horrible. But I guarantee right now, if I were to turn this on and we would turn this into a watch party, all of you motherfuckers would actually stay to watch this and listen to us just talk about it and sit back and enjoy it.
I'd just be cracking jokes at Paris the whole movie.
That too. Tom Paris and oh god, what was her name? Courtney Cox was in it. Yeah. And then the true origin of the MCU. Howard the Duck.
Yep.
You don't want to know what happened after that scene.
Speaking
of, have you seen the anatomical correctness of ducks? She did.
Wow.
Moving on.
Let's just move on up the list there.
Now, Maximum Overdrive, aware of it? I mainly know it because up in this area, there are a number of Halloween stores that are actually open year-round. And guaranteed, somewhere in the artwork of the store, you will find that mask.
Yes.
That's the only reason why I recognize that. Mommy Dearest. Why does... That's one that's on this list that I feel like I should know about it, but can't remember it.
I've probably seen it, but it's one of those I'm like, meh.
Yes, intellectual iconoclasm, that is true. Lucas is responsible for the first film in the MCU.
And then Disney fucked it up.
Yeah.
It makes sense now. It all falls into place. It's like poetry.
Drawing comparisons to earlier half-baked movie monsters, the giant spider invasion became popular after its 1975 release because it was so bad that it was actually enjoyable to watch.
It looks like a Monty Python sketch from the BBC.
It does. And I think that's what it is it's in that era of ridiculous comedy that it fit in. But here's the thing, was it intended to have the comedic value or no?
Maybe.
Do you ever have where Ted talk? Hang. So, do you remember the How I Met Your Mother episode where Ted takes Stella on a 2-minute date? If so, then you saw a bit of Manos, The Hands of Fate, a film the couple watches a condensed version of and agrees is the worst movie ever made. Okay, then. I'm not familiar with How I Met Your Mother or this movie.
More specific, the movie is insurance. Fertilizer salesman Harry P. Warren's shoddy attempt at making a horror film almost entirely by himself, a task he only undertook to settle a bet with professional screenwriters Sterling Silliphant.
Warren won the bet as he actually made a complete film, but Silliphant got the last laugh. The following year, he won a Best Adapted Screenplay Academy Award for In the Heat of the Night. Okay, then.
Oh, God, I forgot this one even existed.
Mind you, though, so far, we haven't seen anything by Neil Breen. 'Cause, 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 'cause
Plan 9. Didn't someone recommend this for movie night one night?
ML2. And it's actually been up for voting, I don't know how many times now, but people haven't voted for it.
Good.
I think it's because they don't know what it is.
Do you really think they would vote for it if they knew what it was?
Oh, hey, we had motherfuckers vote for watching paint dry.
Versus what was the other option?
2 movies. It was Shaolin Soccer and Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah.
But then again,
It's a hard toss.
This fucking week, though, we had Mortal Kombat, as in the new Mortal Kombat, and Bone Tomahawk. Those were the 2 options. And then people started talking about, oh, yeah, but the original Mortal Kombat. And after, some talk about it, I asked people, or rather tell people, if you react to this, we're going to watch the original Mortal Kombat at 1.5 speed with the actor sax playing over it the entire movie. 5 reactions were needed, or 5 unique reactions from people. And we were up to 4, and then some withdrew theirs.
Yeah, it's...
I was half tempted to actually just vote on it, but I opted not to.
Now, so I give people shit for the voting for paint drying. I was one of them.
I voted for paint drying too.
But that's because I think people expected it to be a bit of a joke. But no, we actually did it. So that's the thing. When we put something up for vote like that, be careful. You will get what you vote for.
No take backsies.
Oh, so yeah. This is true. I mean, once voting's over, voting's over. Oh, Glober Mom brings up another good one from the childhood. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I remember that one. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I remember it. And I can see why people don't like clowns. It's probably because they've seen that movie.
Here you go. I got the IMDb 50 worst movies of all time.
Is this going by rating or?
I don't know. It looks like it is. But this one deserves it.
Yeah,
It's 4
Batman and
years
Robin.
old.
That one deserves it.
The Room is up. A scary movie. Starting to see a theme here.
Well, here's the thing. The scary movie and disaster movie and even Meet the Spartans, I don't count those as bad movies because they're meant to be bad parodies.
Yeah, but Battlefield Earth?
That one I don't know.
Battlefield Earth isn't actually a bad movie despite everything that's in it.
It's a bad story.
Yeah. Good acting, good cinematography, bad plot, bad writing.
I was going to say, you know who wrote the source material for Battlefield Earth, right?
No.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Mr. Scientology himself. And that's also why Travolta is... Travolta's a part of it because he is big into Scientology.
Oh, I know he is.
It seems just to be these are the movies I like the least, rather than
then more objective, yeah. Because
the thing is on the list. Fuck off.
This
actually Predators isn't bad.
This one you can make it as objectively bad, but also kind of good to watch if you're
the one below it definitely is bad, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, look who's starring in it. That was the main reason. If they put somebody else in as Daredevil, it would have been better.
I don't know, because look at who they had playing Elektra.
But the Elektra movie went on to be better.
Barely.
Couldn't they have made all those movies back then, all the superhero movies, just with Michael Keaton?
Oh, okay. Hang on. Scroll up. Here is another one that, yes, this is one of my guilty pleasure movies. Scroll up a little bit more. Right there. Stop. Have you ever had a Quebec pizza? It's a Pop-Tart with the ketchup. Admittedly, bad movie. Horrendously bad movie. I admit, Love Guru is a crap movie, but it's still fucking funny.
What about this one, Jared? We rip on it all the time on BTW.
Which one? Son of the Mask or Battleship?
No,
Oh, Battleship.
Battleship.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to agree.
How is this movie on here twice?
It's so bad. But Battleship would actually be good if they went more with camp.
Oh yeah.
Had it not taken itself seriously.
Okay, so it's number 10. Okay. And it is also number 40. Oh, and there's Aliens versus Predator. Oh, Requiem. Okay, that's different. This is when you go back down to...
Yeah, 45.
Huh. Okay, sorry. Iconoclasm. I feel like I need to take your wrench away for this one because History of the World Part 1 was not a bad movie. Mel Brooks has never made a bad movie that I'm aware of.
Producers, too. The second, basically the remake of Producers.
The one with Nathan Lane and
Yes.
Matthew Broderick?
Matthew Broderick.
No.
The original is far better than that one.
Will Ferrell as the reference material for Springtime for Hitler. Come on. The Producers is a cheesy story to begin with. But of remakes that were remakes, Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick in a comedic musical works.
Hold on, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Producers.
Speaking of that, and speaking of Will Ferrell, what movie with Ron Perlman would you like to see Ron Perlman substituted with Will Ferrell in?
Ooh.
Wait. Hang on. Let's do two movies. And you swap Ron Perlman for Will Ferrell in one, but then you swap Will Ferrell for Ron Perlman in the other. And here's one I have for you. Here's a combination. Take Ron Perlman out of Hellboy. Take Will Ferrell out of Zoolander 2 and swap them.
Fucking knew it.
If you're going to do it, you got to go ridiculous with it.
Yes, you do.
Oh, which reminds me, we need to watch Zoolander. We just have to fucking watch that one.
Ooh. Intellectual Iconoclasm has a good one for you there. Will Ferrell in Beauty and the Beast series.
Yes, the TV series with Ron Perlman from was it CBS, I think it was, back in the 90s?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What other combination were you thinking of would be suggested in that one?
Well, he was in Alien Cubed.
True. This is true. But could you really see the swap happening with that one though? Or are you just trying to make the movie even worse?
Well, I can see that happening, actually. I can see it happening in the way that Ron Perlman is trying to play more serious in that movie. Well, for argument value of serious. And then Will Ferrell trying to act more like him.
Ooh.
Or to act in that movie.
Iconoclasm finished his one, and this would be an interesting one. So we have taking Perlman out of Beauty and the Beast and putting Will Ferrell in his place. And you take Ron Perlman and put him into Elf. Oh, that's a good one. Don't just see, and Rodent, that's exactly what I was thinking. Don't just swap the actors, swap the characters. So again, imagine that swap of Mugatu and Hellboy.
And we should also do one of these Ron Perlman and Clancy Brown swaps with another comedian. Because that iconic voice of Clancy Brown.
Oh,
you hear it and you're just like, you can never know where you've heard it from, but you know you've heard it in everything.
yes. Here's one. Here's a swap that could be interesting. Drill Sergeant Zim. Sorry, Private Zim. Mr. Krabs.
Oh. As in the main character of Invader Zim, Private Zim.
No.
No?
Career Sergeant Zim from Starship Troopers. Played by Clancy Brown.
Yeah. Totally forgot about that.
Yeah, unless you want to go full Kurgan.
No. Kurgan is just the Kurgan, and you kind of need just leave him there.
Well, you could swap him up for Surtur in Thor Ragnarok.
True, but at this point, I think have to agree with Glober Mom and call medic.
I've got my alcohol solution right here for everything.
All right. Well, we are at that time where we need to take a break. Sorry, I need to take a break because you know what? We can continue this mishmash conversation on VTW and get even more people's input on it. That could be interesting. So yeah, let's go ahead and carry this conversation into the other, and we will be live again in just over 30 minutes. And oh, Donkey, we can start discussing that one too. That looks like it would be fun. And for those who are wondering what that topic is going to be, if you're just listening in and not actually reading the screen, how about merging two movies, the plot of one with the style of the other? But we need to flesh one detail out. What do you do with the cast? And once we establish that, let's see what kind of combinations we can come up with then. So, with that, we are going to take this off air. We are going to take a short break, get the rest of the veterans out there who want to join us in on the discussion, and we will go from there. And who knows what other nonsense is going to come up tonight. So we will see you all in 37 minutes. So at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, we will be back on air. See you all then.
William Shatner, you suck, my dude.
Oh, God damn it. Fuck that guy.